What is your condition?
So my condition is as a result of a couple of pretty decent concussions. I have traumatic brain injuries, and mostly they affect me with balance and depth perception. I'm also incredibly light sensitive, and I am prone to migraines. Mostly the migraines are managed with medication, but we work around them, and fatigue, I think, with anybody with a disability is a major issue. So we deal with that too.
My condition is diplegic cerebral palsy, so that is a condition that comes on at birth with a cerebral brain hemorrhage. And for me, that led to a miscommunication between my brain and my muscles, and that led to spasticity or tightness in my muscles from the waist down.
The big one is MCAS, so that's mast cellular activation syndrome. I'm always having some infection or some allergic reaction because my body goes around producing a reaction, and when it doesn't find one, it's like, it's not here. We'll create a new one. So I'll have a sinus infection, then tonsillitis, and then a kidney infection. This is a condition that takes years to diagnose and years to suffer with, just because it's so complex, because you have infections throughout your whole body. I went to about, 5 to 10 specialists who all told me some version of, I have no idea what's wrong with you. There is something terribly wrong with you, but I have no idea what it is. I've never seen it before.
It is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. It means that it makes a lot of things either really easy to focus on or really difficult to focus on, depending on how much I enjoy it.
So I have chronic pain, but I'm unsure because the doctors are trying to diagnose me. They're trying to diagnose me with either Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, lupus, or fibromyalgia.
What are some of the assumptions people make about your disability?
One example for me was about a year and a half ago. I was going into a nightclub with one of my friends, and I didn't have any identification on me in terms of my disability, and I kind of wanted to keep that private. And I walk up, and there's not a lot of queue, and I walk up to the bouncer, and he goes, "Look, mate, you're going to have to turn around. You need something to eat. You need to leave." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I looked back at the bouncer, and I said, "Are you assuming I'm drunk?" And he said, "Yes, you are very drunk." And I said, "Can I tell you something?" And he said, "Okay, go ahead." And he was really rude about it. And I said, "Look, I have cerebral palsy." And he stared at me in the face and waited a couple of moments and said, "What's that?"
But also this whole thing of I don't look disabled. My disability is dynamic, so that means it's changing like every day. So some days I'll have a really good day and I can do a lot of things, and then others I'm basically bedbound. And people will see me on a good day and think, oh, she can do everything, do all that stuff. But in reality, I can't. It's just a good day.
That I'm going to be loud, that I'm going to be bouncing off the walls, that I'm going to be late to everything, that I'm going to be disorganized, that I'm not going to be able to provide a good enough or a stable enough work at a job or workplace. Basically, that I'm going to be a nuisance in every sense of the word.
I think that people assume, because they can't physically see that I have a disability, they assume that I am physically able and that I am able to do everyday tasks. And I think that they don't understand what chronic pain really is and that it is constant. And because of that, I think that they assume that I am either making it up in my head or that I just haven't tried hard enough to get rid of it. People often give me advice about doing things like yoga or getting cupping or all those sorts of things, and I have tried all of those things pretty much. So I think it's just people assume that my disability is because I haven't tried hard enough to heal it.
Because there is no physical outward disability, I feel that I get a lot of prejudice that I'm making it up, that I'm over dramatising something that happened a long time ago now. If you say to somebody that you've got a head injury, they assume that you've got intellectual hindrances. They quite often will start speaking to you very slowly, and they tend to just forget that there's any disability at all. There's a lot of assumptions because of the service dog that I must be blind or that I can't move. When I have Harry and it's the two of us together and I'm having a good day, I don't feel like we have a disability. Without him, then I do have limitations. And one of the greatest limitations is just the effort it takes to do anything.
Do you think the university is accessible?
It was. It has its moments across its disciplines. My discipline was a bit more accessible than most, but also in terms of the physical facilities, no. In terms of accessibility services, it was alright, but it's gotten worse with the new changes in structure and staff. We were getting there, and you can see it in the new places like the park with the elevators, but it also could be a lot better.
I guess it would be better if there was more regulation. Like, accessibility services with the uni are amazing and they do what they can. But all of the lectures are supposed to be recorded. But some lecturers decide that they will record them but only release them to people who need them. Now, I detest this for so many reasons. Number one being, how can you prove and who's to decide if you need them or not? But also, as someone who does need them sometimes I just physically cannot get to campus, so I need to watch a Zoom or an online recording later. If I also need to ask someone's permission to access that, that's kind of stealing even more of my time. So if I only have a certain amount of energy and I'm using it all to ask a person for a recording, I then no longer have energy to watch that recording.
I was pleasantly surprised at how much help was available at the university, but I had to go looking for it. And part of the reason I was able to access some of the services was because I had friends who had accessed the service. So I think that as a mature student going back, if I didn't know young people at uni, I would not have known to ask. Even though it's all on the website and stuff like that, you don't think that it's there for you, especially with a non-traditional disability. The best thing was that I could get parking. So I didn't have to worry about where we were going to park and how far we were going to have to walk. All of that was already programmed into the way I was planning my day. There are just those things that you just roll your eyes and you accept when a door doesn't open the way it's supposed to open, when the lift takes forever to come, or you get another notification that the lift in that block is down again. It's like, well, that's great. Thanks for telling us, but what are we supposed to do?
I'd say for my case, I have quite a complicated case, I'd say, and my symptoms vary quite a lot, and I find it hard to explain myself over and over again to different people. I think it's inaccessible in the way of I can't just deal with one person that already knows what is happening. And I also think, like, just with small things like coming into uni, like my attendance is not great, and getting mugged on my attendance is not great, but I have to explain myself every time I'm not able to attend, and I think just that pressure in itself stops me from asking for help, and I think that's just a barrier for me asking for help and getting the help that I need.
What's your abilities?
Swimming, I'm a really good swimmer. Physical abilities, I'm really good at the gym. I'm strong, flexible, and I'm really good at balancing and lifting things.
I'd say that I'm really empathetic and I have a creative mind. I think it's hard also because a lot of my abilities that I took pride in were physical, like sports. One of my abilities at the moment is just pushing through it.
I am so creative and I have this amazing ability called getting stuff done right as the deadline comes up every single time. It doesn't matter how close the deadline is, I get it done. The ability I would say is I can just get stuff done when I need to. If something needs happening or someone needs helping, I can do that. I can be there because my attention can be here, there, over this, over that. It means I can multitask and switch and get things done and build everything together.
I guess my ability is that I'm super funny. I want to be a psychologist. How does that make you feel? The best thing I can do is just enjoy life and be so funny and like experience what life I do have to the fullest. So I guess my ability is to look the concept of death in the face and laugh.
My superpower is having a disability. I am a much more compassionate, understanding, thoughtful person. Having a disability or having a difference means that I am more responsive to other people's differences. I think I'm more approachable. I know that having Harry allows me to form relationships with people that I never would before. Like, there's no way we'd be having this interview if I didn't have a Harry.
Yeah.
In my work with people, having Harry allows people to have the conversations. So if somebody's having a bad day, they don't come and tell me about it. They don't seek me out, but they'll seek us out because Harry's safe, which means that I'm safe. I will never teach and go into a classroom without a dog again because the power of having both of us is so much better than just having me.
The Do Not Assume campaign was created from the personal experiences of students and alumni from the University of Waikato. I decided to make this documentary to show the assumptions people make about disabilities and chronic illnesses. In September 2024, I was hospitalised after having a seizure-like episode and stroke-like symptoms. I was later diagnosed with functional neurological disorder, also known as FND. This diagnosis turned my whole life upside down. I've had to navigate daily symptoms, weekly and months-long episodes or flare-ups. I've just had another flare-up where I was unable to walk without crutches for 2 months, and this happened while creating this project, as well as debilitating migraines. The University of Waikato is very inaccessible. One day I was trying to get the lift and it took 5 times of the elevator going up and down with it full of people before someone would let me in, and I was in a wheelchair at the time. The campus has so many steep hills which is very difficult to walk up with crutches or to push yourself in a wheelchair. The doors to access the buildings are really heavy, and a lot of the time the automatic doors don't automatically open. Just wanted to thank all of the people who made this project possible.